So we got the fantasy football mailbag coming in here. It's week 6 time. Throw in your questions, and guys out there watching live, throw them in the comment, throw them in the chat there. Let's answer any questions out there for everybody going through as well. First question coming in from Terry over on the YouTube. Should I trade Aaron Jones and St. Brown for Breece Hall, Tyler Lockett, and Geno? They've got Russ as their quarterback there, and I'm sorry if you got Russ. Something I'm dealing with there as well. But guys, thoughts on the trade? Are you making it? Are you not making it?
I'm making this trade. St. Brown's been down for the last 2 weeks. He's on bye this week, so hopefully he comes back healthy. But Aaron Jones, at some point they're going to remember that they have A.J. Dillon on this Green Bay roster, and I think that obviously takes away from some of his usage. And on the flip side, Geno is QB6 on the season right now. Like QB6, 4 out of 4 or 3 out of the last 4 games he's thrown over 300 yards. And he's doing just enough, and he can contribute slightly with his legs. Not a lot, but slightly with his legs. But he's making the Seattle offense work, right? Penny just went down. So, all you Ken Walker owners, congratulations. You have a clear-cut RB1. But having Breece Hall, he's emerging. Like, look at his snap counts and his usage over the last 5 weeks. It has increased every single week. So Breece Hall, I think, can challenge basically the same type of production when we're getting into the back half of the season that you're going to see out of Aaron Jones. And you have a quarterback to help supplement the Russ thing. Lockett's kind of the bonus piece. You're going to see some highs. You're going to see some lows. But it's a nice little stack, right? Geno and Lockett. So, when if one goes off, the other one's most likely going off too. Helps with bye weeks, right? Lockett may not be an everyday starter, but he's a good flex piece to help navigate the bye weeks and navigate what's coming up in front of us. So I would have never taken this trade preseason, right? We would have looked at this and gone, not a chance on earth. Right. And now I'm looking at it going, I understand this. I understand your frustration as a Russell Wilson owner, and this does make your team better in the long run and in the short run. And if Russ is able to turn it on, then guess what? You plug him back into your starting lineup. But for now, you're starting Geno.
Right.
Yeah, I like the Breece Hall side of it. I mean, that alone to me is the one that really, really sweetens the deal there, because again, with the Packers, it's just man, that offense is also kind of helter-skelter at the moment. Looks good, then looks terrible, and that's one series to the next, So I like the fact that Breece Hall is emerging, as Kevin said, and the fact that you can kind of sweeten your pot with Geno. Keep in mind, Russ is now dealing with an injury, so who knows what that's going to do, and he has no left tackle to protect him for his back injury. So I would rather have Geno at this moment. And stupidly, I traded Geno away in the home league after week 1, thinking, I can just get something for Geno. And now I'm really wishing I wouldn't have made that move.
Yeah. Yeah. So, this is a phrase that Kevin likes to say a lot. Take the names out of it, and what do you get, right? So taking the names out of it, you're going to trade QB 14 and running back 14 and wide receiver number 9 on the season and half-point PPR scoring for running back 10 on the season, quarterback 7 on the season, and wide receiver number 8 on the season. So, you're instantly upgrading off of that in the past, right? Like you take all the take the names out of it. Amon-Ra, hotter name than Tyler Lockett, obviously, right? Heading into the season, all the hype, things like that. And had Amon-Ra played the last 2 weeks, we would have seen something a little different there, right? He probably would be ahead of Lockett. There's like 1.2 points separating those two. So there's some difference there, but Tyler Lockett's been very serviceable for you. Breece Hall certainly taking over the workload on that one. And while Michael Carter's still getting touchdowns, Michael Carter touchdowns came off of these long breakaway plays for Breece Hall, where Breece Hall got tackled and after 40, 50-yard run type of thing, and these big plays where he goes down, they subbed him out because he needed a blow. Michael Carter comes in and scores the 1-yard touchdown. So there's a yard that separates that a little bit from Breece Hall having he had a great week, almost 200 yards all purpose type of thing and a touchdown versus, going about 200 yards and almost 2 or 3 touchdowns type of thing, which would have blown that thing up even more so on that one. So yeah, I'm right there with you. That's a 3-way consensus saying, let's do the trade there. All right, let's go ahead and hop into our next question here. Question coming in. This was a trade question, and it was which side do you want, right? The team A is getting DeAndre Hopkins and Ken Walker III. Team B is getting Jameson Williams and Justin Jefferson. Which side of the fence do you want there?
I'm keeping Jefferson.
Give me Jefferson all day. Jefferson hides a lot of flaws.
Yeah, right.
He's been kind of boomer bust this year, right? Like he's had really, really big games, and then he had that clunker of a game where he got targeted like 3 times. But like overall consistency, give me Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, you're looking at a top, obviously with his ranking, a top 3, and in my eyes, still probably the biggest boom potential out of a fantasy wide receiver this year. You don't know what Nuke Hopkins is going to look like, right? Like we expect him to come back and do good things, but this Arizona offense has kind of been meh as of late. Hollywood's kind of getting his as he's getting force-fed a lot of targets, but how is that going to look once he comes back? And Jamal Williams is going to have usage even when Swift comes back, right? We saw this before Swift went down with the ankle injury. The Lions were using Jamal Williams, so that's not going to go away. So
it's Jameson Williams in the.
Oh, Jameson Williams. I'm sorry, wrong Williams. My apologies. Fine. So Jameson Williams, he's coming back the back half of the season, and kind of the same unknown as Hopkins. Only Hopkins is more of a proven commodity. So you get everything else, regardless of. Justin Jefferson is greater than Kenneth Walker, and I would rather have that position locked down. You know exactly who your wide receiver 1 is week in and week out. You will have to suffer through not necessarily streaming, but a lot of tough roster decisions with Nuke Hopkins in his place, especially these first couple weeks, seeing how he fits into the offense, and a Kenneth Walker who – I think Seattle's defense is bad enough. They're not going to run the ball a whole heck of a lot. Like they're going to be throwing it to stay in games. So JJ, all the way for me.
Yeah, I would agree on that as well. You mentioned that there Marquis Hollywood Brown has been wide receiver 6 so far through the first 5 weeks on that one. And the assumption is that adding Nuke Hopkins into the mix is going to make the Arizona passing offense more prolific, is kind of the thought process that a lot of folks out there have. But counterpoint to that, what if what we're seeing right now is kind of the high point of what we can see out of this Arizona offense? The defense is bad. And so it's one of those that when they come back, right, they may not necessarily have enough to fully go around to the point where you can see them support both Nuke and Hollywood to the point where you end up seeing 2 guys that are wide receiver 2s on your roster versus Justin Jefferson, who I think is going to continually just get you 20 points a week on average there. So I'm right there with you, Justin Jefferson side of it. Terry in the chat this time is asking for which way you like this one. Walker and Sutton for St. Brown. His current wide receivers are Pittman, Sutton, Evans, Tyler Boyd, and Gabe Davis.
I think I stay put. I don't think I make that move for St. Brown.
I guess I see why you want to. And Terry, if I'm remembering, your running back room's pretty stacked. If if I'm remembering correctly.
I think you're remembering that right.
So he has the depth there at running back from what I remember seeing some of these other ones. I'm okay with that. Like Sutton, I think Sutton's going to consistently see, 7, 8 targets a game. So 5 to 6 catches is pretty much what you're getting out of Sutton. And while he's a nice complementary piece, having a St. Brown and that ability to really take the top off the defense and pair with a Mike Evans week in and week out, and then you're basically making Pittman your flex play, which is a great flex play, right? Like a lot of people would die for that option essentially, right? So I think I'm okay with it. Like I'm not. I think Walker's going to have a tough time because that team is going to be trailing in Seattle, like we just said. I like Cortland Sutton. I have him in our home league. Luckily, I also have St. Brown, so I don't have to make this decision. But I understand where you're coming from. Like Cortland Sutton can only get you so far. He's a great floor play, even with the Broncos offense being so stinking terrible. But there is no ceiling for Cortland Sutton. He is nothing but a floor play. St. Brown, when healthy, gives you roughly the same floor that a Cortland Sutton does. Only with St. Brown, you can see monster games where he rivals even, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, that type of elite receiver. He rivals their ceiling at his best.
Right. And Mike Evans also gives you a massive ceiling there as well. Pittman, I do it as well, Terry. I think I like that deal, and I think I like that trade. Yeah, I would certainly rock and roll that one there as well. Alrighty. Next question coming in from the Stacks app. Thoughts on Taysom Hill?
I think you're riding a roller coaster, right?
Yeah, buyer beware.
Like Taysom Hill was on the field for 15% of the team's snaps up until week 5. Like, that's a big gamble. No one saw this coming. No one expected this to come. There was absolutely 0 people in the fantasy industry putting out publicly that I think Taysom Hill is going to blow up. And this week, a lot of them are admitting that. Different podcasts, streaming shows, just kind of going through it. So tight end's so bleak, right? You see the highs and the lows. It's not a bad streaming option, I guess, if they feel like the matchup's right and you're going through bye weeks or if your guy gets nicked up. Like, I understand, because outside of Kelsey and Andrews, everybody's had at least one terrible week already, if not 2. So I understand the allure, but you have to be willing to take all the lows with the game like last week where he scores 4 touchdowns out of nowhere.
Right. Well, and part of the problem that you have too is, so this is one of those that is it going to surprise you if these platforms decide to change the designation on Taysom Hill partway through the season either? If he can, like right now where he's getting all his points, he's not lining up as a tight end. He's lining up as a quarterback. That's where the majority of his points come from, is this wildcat formation where he goes in and does that. Taysom Hill's tight end number 3 on the season right now in half-point PPR scoring, and he has 1 reception out of the tight end position for 2 yards. That's it. So, yeah, I'm right there with you, Kevin. I don't know that I necessarily. Yeah, I might take a stab on a shot on him on some weeks there, depending upon if I need a ceiling type of play, because that's where he can potentially do it. But I'm also writing that in conjunction with if Jameson Williams or Jameson
Winston.
Thank you. Jameis Winston is healthy and able to go. Same thing too, right? The bevy of Saints weapons. Jarvis Landry has been out. Michael Thomas has been out. Chris Olave's in the concussion protocol. So the Saints receiving room looking very bleak there. Jameis hasn't been able to go. And so this could be one of those that this week it would be worth a flyer, if nothing else, from the standpoint that when the Saints get in the red zone, they're likely going to throw Taysom Hill back there into it, and away they go from there. But I'm not necessarily wanting to ride that one unless I absolutely have to. But again, some of those blow up weeks like he just had will certainly change some of the narrative and change some of the perspective that people have out there on that one.
Yeah, and they're expecting Michael Thomas to be back for week 6. We'll see how Olave's progression through the protocol goes. So if those wide receivers are back, I think Hill's, luxury of, these random bonus points kind of goes out the window. Then you traditionally use Andy Dalton more. But if they're down those receivers again, I understand. Really what the best part about last week was Alvin Kamara actually had a really good game. Like this is the game last week is kind of the best you're going to get for Kamara. So those of you frustrated with owning him, now's the time to try and flip him. Like it looks like he's on the uptick. He had that first good game. Like you need to be pumping up the fact that he's on the rise to other people in your league to try and get him off your plate.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the problem too with the the Kamara side of things is Taysom Hill has 5 touchdowns on the rushing touchdowns on the season, and almost every one of those likely would have gone to a Kamara type of thing and on a similar play design with with either Jameis or Andy Dalton back there. I also think too that once you see Jameis back in this thing, the allure to take Jameis off the field to put Taysom Hill in there and a wildcat actually decreases there as well. So I think we could see the limited kind of upside here on Taysom going forward. Alex, any other thoughts on Taysom Hill?
Nah.
All right. Next question coming in here. Leadership lessons need a streaming tight end option for week 6. Are we saying Taysom Hill? Is he a streaming option this week? Rostered in 21% of leagues out there.
Man, I would hate myself if he was. I get it. If Michael Thomas decides he can't go and Olave is still in concussion protocol, then yeah, like he's absolutely a streaming option this week. But I'm not willing to buy into that yet. And I think to this point, it is getting tougher to look at these tight ends. I think Irv Smith Jr. is a guy that had probably been dropped. He's back out on your leagues. You can take a look at him. Evan Ingram, possibly, right? If someone had to make roster moves because of a bye week and Evan Ingram was their second tight end, he's someone that you kind of jump after. There's some leagues where I've seen Hurst and Njoku still on the waiver wire.
Hayden Hurst only rostered in about 28% of leagues out there.
Yeah, Hayden Hurst would be at the top of my list. Like that's Njoku if he's there. Outside of that, Hayden Hurst would be my top 2 for sure. And then outside of that, honestly, bud, it's a gamble. Bellinger from the Giants, got into the end zone. They're using him sparingly, but he has seen a couple catches, couple targets each game. So you want to look at this and you want to find the clearest path to 10 points, right? That's what you want out of your tight end. And in a half-point PPR league, really you're looking at you want 7 to 8 points.
Right.
Full point, you're looking more at 10. That's what you're trying to get. So you want to find the clearest option to 7 to 10 points out of your tight end position if you're streaming tight ends, and just cross your fingers and hope for the best, because it is a crapshoot, for lack of better terms.
Yeah,
this week's certainly a lot tougher.
I'll throw another name out there that is I mean it is a streaming option. I will preface it that way. But there was encouraging signs last week, and that's Noah Fant with the Seahawks.
I would say Will Dissly was just as good of an option out of
Will Dissly, and truth be told, Dissly's rostered in a lot fewer leagues than Noah Fant is. And realistically, I think they're projected right around the same. So, I mean, either one of those, you just hope that you pick the right one. It's kind of been like the Zeke, Tony Pollard. If you've got both on your roster because you thought, oh, I'll get the handcuff. Well, it's been kind of a rough and tumble. Which one do I pick? Which one goes off each week? But yeah, those are 2 names that I would throw out there as well.
Bobby
Tonyan. With how good, especially with how good Geno's playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty. Let's get over to the mailbag here again. The coaches asking, what's a fair price for CeeDee Lamb to sell off in for redraft here?
Why do you want to sell off CeeDee Lamb?
I don't have any more context to it than what we've got for what's a fair price for CeeDee Lamb. It could be the fact that the Cowboys just had 100 yards passing on a game here. I imagine Dak coming back. He may be back this week, maybe back the week after that, but Dak coming back will certainly change that. I don't know that we're going to see a decrease in CeeDee's volume, but if you're looking to move off of him, you need to move off of a guy that's a wide receiver 1 on his team, seeing 30% of the target share, and is a top 12 type of wide receiver out there for fantasy. So you're looking to get something in that ballpark back.
Breece Hall, Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I say you need a bell cow in air quotes, but you need kind of a bell cow back in order to replace that.
Yeah, Breece Hall, Joe Mixon are the first two that come to mind.
If you're looking to swap wide receiver, I don't know why. Like, just write it out. Like, if you're trying to make an upgrade at wide receiver, unless you're getting one of the 11 guys in front of CeeDee Lamb, in which case I don't know why anybody would make that deal with you unless they're a diehard Cowboys fan.
I mean, CeeDee right now ranked wide receiver 17 on the season, right? But you've got guys ahead of him like Amari Cooper, Christian Kirk, Cortland Sutton, Chris Olave, AJ Brown, Debo, Mike Williams, and then up into like the Tyler Lockett's, and then you get into the elite names there. But I don't know that I necessarily want to make a move for CeeDee for Chris Olave.
No, but you could do. I mean, if you're really not liking the way it's going, CeeDee and Devin Singletary, and see if you can get AJ Brown.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that would be
right. It jumps you up a little bit. The running back name is good for depth. Like, he's a spot start, but he's not necessarily there. But if the other team's struggling at running back, and you're giving him pretty fair compensation on receiver, that might be enough to make them bite off on it. But CeeDee straight up for any one position is going to be tough. Guys don't like to part with big time, clear number one running backs. They're hard to come by. And so it's going to take a piece or two. Like, there is no just unload CeeDee for something.
Right.
And there's still a lot of unknown. Like, obviously this Cowboys offense, they're winning, right? So that leads you to believe that they will take their time with getting Dak back, because results on field are still there. But things change when Dak Prescott comes back. That offense changes when Dak Prescott comes back. So I can understand the frustration, but I think patience pays off here.
Yeah, I don't think the Cowboys should bring Dak back for this game against the Eagles, but I think they do bring Dak back.
Probably, because the Eagles are about to get out of touch if they win this one. Granted, now everybody in the NFC East is apparently the NFC East is what we all thought the AFC West was going to be this year. But yeah, right. But I still think the Cowboys might rush him back, pardon the pun, to probably a week sooner than he needs to be. Although, I was watching that Cowboys game this weekend, and Tom Rinaldi said he shook Dak Prescott's hand, and
I heard that.
And the first thing that Dak said to him was, "How does my grip feel? Like, I'm ready to come back. My thumb is good." And so, I think the Cowboys might bring him back maybe a week too soon, but you never. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I haven't looked at it.
And we'll learn tomorrow, right? Like, that's when Dak's going to be throwing the ball, and they're going to really evaluate his grip strength and throwing the ball with different route concepts and everything else. So we'll learn more tomorrow for sure.
But a divisional game, you want your best players out there, even if it's 85% of Dak. You want 85% of Dak Prescott versus 100% of Cooper Rush, because while they are winning, it is not at the hands of Cooper Rush. It is at the hands of Micah Parsons and that Dallas defense, because holy freaking crap, are they scary.
They're getting after the quarterback like crazy, that's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still kind of flabbergasted here because CeeDee Lamb's lowest targeted game is still 8. Like
Yeah,
that's
hard to get away from.
That's his floor, is 8 targets a game. Sign me up for that.
Yeah, I'm trying to acquire CD where I can
Yeah.
get him. Like I'm trying to find ways where, okay,
And maybe that's
can I
that's the
package a
question.
Cortland Sutton and something maybe for a CD Lamb and kind of go from there and kind of horse trade with people. Like that's what I'm looking to acquire right now. Like people don't like it. 4 games with Cooper Rush, like blah blah blah. Like 2 of those games were big games. Like these are really good games. So if I can find a disappointed CD Lamb owner, send him my way. I'm more than happy to try and work a deal with him.
And maybe that's what they're asking there is what's the price that they should try and package together to go get CD, and what's maybe that's kind of more the angle of the question there, instead of they're trying to trade it off, but they're trying to go acquire, and what would you package to send off to go get CD?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I think that we kind of answered that question on both sides of that anyway. So, all righty. Thanks for the question out there. One more coming in here. Giovanni Video on the YouTube. Who is better rest of season PPR, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift? Which one you like better rest of season, full PPR, JT or Swift?
Both coming off ankle injuries.
Taylor might be back.
I'm taking Taylor
this week.
No, I'm taking Taylor. You drafted him number 1 overall for a reason. He traditionally last year and the year before, right? The back half of the season, he got stronger. The Colts continued to feed him the ball through everything. Like, I guess I'm willing to bank on that as opposed to Swift seeing so many receptions with Amon-Ra St. Brown coming back, with Jameson Williams coming into the fold, with Chark being there and Reynolds being there and Hawkinson and all these things that Goff is doing. I would feel better with Jonathan Taylor over DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I mean, give me the guy with the bigger workload, and that's going to be Jonathan Taylor, right? Like a poor showing for Jonathan Taylor sees him getting 25 opportunities over the course of the week, right? He's going to see roughly 20 rushing attempts. He's going to see probably an additional 5 targets through the air. So sign me up for that one. Even though DeAndre Swift has been incredibly efficient on the ground and through the air, DeAndre Swift, the problem is that you're going to rely on all of that production coming off of what's equated to about 15 targets. So give me the guys, we'll see the bigger workload on that. Give me the guy that is the undoubted goal line red zone back there. And that's the problem that we've also seen in Detroit too, is they're very comfortable using DeAndre Swift in between the 20s. But once it seems to get into the red zone, all of a sudden we see Jamal Williams come in there, and there's been a multiple times where we've seen Jamal Williams vulture touchdowns off of great drives put together by the Lions where DeAndre Swift was in the backfield the entire time. Plus the fact that DeAndre Swift will not play this week. They are on bye this week, and you likely will see Jonathan Taylor back. I'm right there with you. Give me Jonathan Taylor over DeAndre Swift on this one. All right, a couple of questions in the chat here. Let's go ahead and hit these things up here real quick. Giovanni Video, I'm thinking of trading away Dalvin Cook for Jonathan Taylor. Should I? Would you trade away? Okay, Alex?
If someone's willing to do that deal, yes.
I don't know. It's 6 of one for 6.5 of another, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure that I'm fully in on that. Taylor is coming off an injury. We do know that Dalvin Cook is going to miss some time. That's just Dalvin Cook. I don't know. Maybe not this week.
I'm doing it. I'm taking the trade. That's if you can do it, I'm taking the JT side of that one over the Dalvin Cook side. Terry, thoughts on Tyler Boyd this week versus New Orleans? Tyler Boyd, in my mind, is not really a startable or flex candidate unless either Jamar Chase or T. Higgins is going to miss. I don't know. Keep an eye on the reports there. I'm thinking both of those guys play this week, and I'm not necessarily looking to go out there and actively try and put a guy that's, even if one of those guys misses, still potentially going to be like the third targeted guy on his team there against a pretty stout New Orleans defense.
I like it if Higgins doesn't go, right? Like if he's still having issues with the ankle and we're going from there. I know that a lot of people are frustrated with this T. Higgins deal, right? It cost a lot of people their fantasy matchup this week because he was limited, then he was good to go, and he suited up. He played for like 10 snaps or something like that, and then poof, he just disappeared, right? It acted up and it couldn't go. Well, what in the hell, right? Like that's just frustrating. But I get why. So in deep leagues, right? 3 wide receiver leagues, I think I understand that. But now I think I'm okay with it. And the biggest reason New Orleans isn't going to be able to stop it all. And we just saw Geno Smith light them up through the air. You have to think that Cincinnati is going to be taking some of that, right? They put this stuff on tape, and here we go. So it's worth a flyer in deeper leagues where you're kind of hoping for a home run play, that type of thing. But I think I'd rather play Tyler Boyd in DFS than redraft or season-long fantasy. But if that's the corner that you're painted into, it's okay, but I'd look for like an Alec Pierce instead, like Derek mentioned earlier.
Okay. Let's set the line here on this one. And it's games called Tyler Boyd or. So Tyler Boyd or MVS this week.
Oof.
Who are the Chiefs playing? I haven't even looked.
Buffalo.
I'm going Tyler Boyd.
Okay.
I would go Tyler Boyd as well.
Okay. Tyler Boyd, DJ Moore.
DJ Moore. I like his matchup this week. I like DJ Moore's matchup this week.
And the fact that the coach got fired, you might actually see them do something this week. So,
yeah, and they're finally starting to target him. So, volume-wise alone, I'm going DJ Moore. There's more opportunity for success there.
Okay.
Even with PJ Walker.
Okay. Tyler Boyd, Corey Davis.
Davis.
Okay. Tyler Boyd, Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers.
Okay. Last one here. Let's go Tyler Boyd and George Pickens.
Boyd.
Okay. So, I mean,
I'm not trusting Kenny Pickett against Tampa Bay.
Fair enough. And so we've seen a lot of that where the lines kind of set down there for Tyler Boyd around, what are going to be kind of fringe wide receiver 3 on the week type of guys there, I think is what that is. So, kind of flex worthy, and like you said, kind of tight end 3 spot there, but there's some guys out there that, Jacoby Myers, like we didn't think to, even hesitate on that one. Jacoby Myers available on a lot of waiver wires. So I would, and I'm right there with you. I'd rather play Jacoby Myers over Tyler Boyd this week and just negate the whole situation there. So, alrighty. Giovanni, this one's kind of going back to his previous question. So it sounds like he may have to try and package something for Dalvin Cook and Jonathan Taylor there. Garrett Wilson as a potential piece or someone that he could put on there as a package.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Boyd, something like that. I'm okay with that.
Right.
Like you're playing. You didn't draft Garrett Wilson to be your wide receiver 2, right? You drafted him as someone who might pop, who has some flex appeal in certain matchups. I think Jonathan Taylor is. I view Jonathan Taylor as that much of an upgrade over Dalvin Cook. That to me, it's worth giving up a little bit of wide receiver depth if I have to with Dalvin Cook to get him.
Right. Che Ambrose over on YouTube. Do I drop Russ for Geno? Need to win now. Oh, yes. The irony.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, if you're in win now, mode, you're taking Geno.
Yep. Terrence over on YouTube. Conklin is current tight end. Should I drop him and grab Taysom Hill or Hayden Hurst this week? Man.
So it's a tough matchup. So team defense, right? Passing yards, defenses are giving up. The Packers are number 2. So they're not giving up a ton of passing yards this year. So, I mean, that's tough. Does Taysom Hill have a higher ceiling this week? Maybe, but also I think has a lower floor. Whether or not he gets used in the way that we've been seeing. I'll let you guys pine on Hayden Hurst.
I tell you,
Hurst over Conklin by a hair this week.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Even though he's got the tougher matchup of the two, New Orleans again tough matchup there. Tyler Conklin, Green Bay. Kevin said it earlier really well. I don't know that I want to hop on the Taysom Hill roller coaster there. So I concur with Kevin on that. Hurst by a hair. If you really feel like living on the wild side, Hill is your wild ride on that one. Drake London or Alex Pierce this week?
I'm going Pierce. Colts are at home.
Playing a not so good Jaguars defense, yeah.
Well, yeah, and the Colts got kind of messed around within that first game of the season, right, by the Jaguars, but that was on the road again. How the irony there. But no, Colts are back at home. This is for, trying to jockey position in this division. And I think the Colts defense has been playing on point. I like the way Alex Pierce has been playing and the way Matt Ryan has been looking his direction at the moment. Yeah, I'm going Pierce for this week.
Yeah, I agree. Even though, if you look at consensus rankings out there, people have Drake London well above Alex Pierce, but I do think Alex Pierce manages to have a good game, right? Like we just got done saying that he's led the Colts in 2 weeks in a row for target share on this one. I don't see that changing. He's got the more favorable matchup against Jacksonville, and Jacksonville, right? You're got to decide what you're going to stop first. Are you going to stop Jonathan Taylor first? Are you going to stop Michael Pittman first? Or is Alex Pierce going to try and, take precedent over either one of those guys? And the answer is no. So I'm going to go with Alex Pierce. I like that ride there. Tampa Bay has been a tough matchup out there, and I don't see that one necessarily changing either. I'm sorry, San Francisco. I don't see San Francisco is a tough matchup, and that's who the Falcons are playing this week. So that's where I'm leaning. Nick, would you do Dalvin, Cook, James Robinson, and Juju for Jamar and Breece Hall? I'd rather have the Jamar and Breece Hall side.
Yes, I want the Jamar and Breece Hall side. So if you're getting them, yes. If you're giving them up, no.
Right. And if you manage to sneak a deal where you're giving up Cook, Robinson, and Juju for those two, more power to you. Nick, he has Saquon, Fournette, Diggs, and Marquis Hollywood Brown there. So, yeah, I mean, at that point, you're going from good to great if you can pull off that deal and get Jamar and Breece Hall there. So, I like it. Terrence asking for a streamer defense this week. They have the Broncos rostered. Should it pick up the Ravens, Jags, Bengals, Panthers, Browns?
I don't think there's any reason to not play the Broncos defense. I mean, I get they're playing the Chargers, but look, it's prime time. The last 2 times that Denver's played in prime time, they've given up 9 and 10 points. So,
yeah, I'd agree. If you really want to, I'd pick up the Ravens. I like their matchup against the Giants. I think they'll be able to stop the run and slow Saquon Barkley down. The Giants don't pose a big passing threat, so you shouldn't have to worry about the Ravens getting beat up over the top. But Ravens would be my first choice if you really don't want to play the Broncos defense. But I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, I had the Broncos defense in our home league, and I was perfectly happy keeping them until the Niners defense became available, and then I said, okay, I'm going to swap them out. Like, I mean, that was the choice that I had, so I went with that. But there's nothing wrong with keeping the Broncos in against a Chargers team who, yes, seem to have it click a little bit more on the road against Cleveland, but the Chargers struggle against the Broncos, much like the Broncos struggle against the Raiders. So I don't I expect it to be kind of another low-scoring affair. I don't think the Chargers' offense is going to be running away with it. I'm not convinced that Keenan Allen's coming back. So you have Pat Surtain on Mike Williams. I like that. I think that's a good matchup for, entertainment purposes, right? If you can get into wide receiver, defensive back matchups, I like that. And it could be the Broncos trying to contain Austin Eckler in the short passing game more so than worrying about throws over the top.
And one thing you have to remember, there's not really a fan base yet in LA, so there's gonna be a lot of Denver fans there. Like
tons of Denver fans.
There's gonna be a lot of Denver fans there in LA, so it's going to be loud when the Broncos are on defense.
Yeah.
I know
much like the Vegas game.
Right. I know that Bronco fans are disgruntled, but they're still going to show up.
Right.
Especially when you bought LA tickets.
All right, Wizzy Jefferson on the YouTube. I'm looking to trade one. Let me know who you guys think I should go with. Monty or Eli Mitchell and Jeff Wilson together. Needs a wide receiver. Who do y'all think I could go get?
Oh, all right. See ya.
I think it's truly dependent on what guys in your league are willing to give up, right? I mean, Eli and Wilson, so you can kind of say you have tabs on that Niners backfield.
I don't know.
But I still think you're going to
get more.
You can get more for Monty. Yeah, you can get more for Monty. So I would want to try and give up Wilson and Mitchell, right? Like just try and give up a little bit less to see what you can get. But man, oh man.
You need a wide receiver, huh?
You might be able to get your hands on a Tyler Lockett or Amari Cooper, or
if you're playing with the other guy, you might be able to get your hands on CeeDee Lamb. Shit.
Right? Maybe Michael Pittman if the owner's struggling at running back. Maybe. Possibly Chris Olave.
Realistically,
something like that. But you're looking at wide receiver 2 territory. Like you're not getting inside that top 12 of elite receivers. You need to be thinking below that, and you're trying to hit a solid wide receiver 2.
And so realistically, what I would do, go look at, everybody else's roster, see what they have, propose the trade for the top guy, get the conversation started, and then work your way from there.
Like it. All righty, another question coming in here. Pick one: Mixon versus New Orleans, Walker versus Arizona, J-Rob versus Indy, Pittman versus Jax, full point PPR. Got to pick one. Who you going with?
I'm going with Mixon because it is guaranteed touches. Mixon has the safest floor. He's also the most talented player in this bunch. Michael Pittman might be number 2, but you're relying on Matt Ryan and the fact that Alec Pierce has seen more targets than Pittman 2 of the last 3 weeks. So I think that kind of slows your roll on that slightly. And we just saw ETN have a really good game last week, right? So we'll see if that continues to kind of snowball into more ETN usage. So for me, I'm taking the equation out of it, right? I'm not worried about what Walker's going to do in his first career start. I'm not worrying about what the Robinson ETN split's going to be, and I'm not worried about Matt Ryan finding Pittman. I know Joe Mixon is going to touch the ball 18 times against the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to take the floor there.
All righty. I like it. I'm right there with you, Mixon, as well. Yeah. Alex, any thoughts?
Just what a luxury to have.
Terry's got a loaded team.
Terry has what a luxury. What a luxury.
Terry's got a monster
Good job
team.
Drafting, man. Like, hats off to you on drafting.
Alrighty. Wizzy, kind of a follow-up question. His target was Pittman, but the guy that has him won't do trade. It's unfortunate, but whatever. Might go look at CD. I'd rather have CD than Pittman.
If you can get CD, go get CD.
Right.
See what the guy wants. See what the guy wants.
People like that are frustrating. Like,
yeah.
If you just refuse to look at trades and do trades, you're missing the point of fantasy football in general, and there's a reason why you don't win leagues. Like you have to make moves. The team that you draft is not the team that you finish the season with ever, 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 ever. And if it is, you didn't win. I can all but guarantee it. So, you know what? His loss, your gain. If you can grab CD, go for it.
Right. All right. Questions. Let's get back to it on some questions here on the YouTube. AJ on the YouTube, trade Waddle and Lockett for Amon-Ra. You get Amon. I am not making that trade.
No. I love me some Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I ain't giving up Waddle and Lockett for him. You can play Lockett over Waddle right now until Tua comes back. But once Tua comes back, Waddle's top 10. Just the same as St. Brown would be. And you have Lockett, which is at the moment top 10. And, definitely a top 20 play, even in some down weeks and dealing with some of the roller coaster that is Tyler Lockett. So no, I'm keeping Waddle and Lockett.
Yeah, not a chance I'm making that trade. If you're gonna try and trade those two away, you better be getting Cooper Kupp type of level back.
Fact.
All right. Next question coming in on YouTube. Terrence asking Travis Etienne or Alex Pierce as a flex this week. I'm probably gonna go Pierce myself on this one. I think that he's got the higher ceiling. I think he's got the, ETN probably a little bit safer floor, but I flex play, I want the ceiling, and I think I'll take Pierce.
I'm going to take ETN. I'm going to ride the hot hand from last week, say they build upon it. So I'm going to lean the other way and give you a split decision right out of the bat because I would play Travis Etienne in this moment.
Fair enough. Alex, you got to be the deciding factor here.
I would lean Pierce. Strictly because, and I'll bring this up when we get to our next Pine and Shine, Colts run defense, pretty stout.
Right. And I see that. Terrence, full disclosure, I've got to actually start Travis Etienne as my running back 2 in the home league there, and I'm not overly happy about that one. But I think you can get a safe play out of him. I just think that Alex Pierce has the higher ceiling on that one this week. All right, so it sounds like, going back to that one, sounds like Alex and I are taking the Pierce side, Kevin on the ETN side of that one. So pick your poison, pick your analysts, see which one you liked better there. Ride that one out there. All right.
I'll tell you what, Terrence, fade me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Fade me.
Wow. Oh, all right. Well, moving on that great analysis there. Wizzy Jefferson over on YouTube. Team Lockett or Team DK? I'm going to go with DK myself. I'm going to take the more talented guy, the bigger body guy on that one there, personally.
Cosign. I love me some big body X receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what DK is. So yes, I'm more team DK.
Alex, DK or Lockett? Which way you riding?
You Lockett. We covered this BS with Alex last season.
But that was with Russell Wilson at quarterback.
Oh yeah.
Let's ride.
I like them both. But yeah. I don't. You got to pick one. DK is probably the better option.
All right.
Good thing this is recorded.
I like how you're like, we need to get this recorded. It's live and recorded.
Remember what I said? I don't know what I'm talking about. I just had 2 horrific picks on Pine and Shine, like absolutely horrific picks.
That's all right. I know that you
not
redeem
take
yourself.
my advice right now.
You're only 4 snaps away from Higgins being a DNP and it not even counting against you. So it's not terrible, but
I am in a rut right now. So
like you almost got the pass on the bye type of thing.
It's a good time to be in a rut. I'm 2 weeks out from going to Vegas, so I need to get all this bad mojo away from me.
All right, let's get it out. Let's ride. And guys, for everybody out there in the chat, one of the best ways you can help support this independent podcast on the YouTube, click that subscribe button, hit the like button. Always appreciate the comments coming in here. Let's hit the next one here. Wizzy saying, what are you guys doing with Swift? Does he come back strong? I think he does. It's one of those that Dan Campbell and team seem to definitely put the player and the long term. understanding that the players' long-term perspectives to help the organization out and help the team out there, and really seem to be doing the right things by the players there. And I think that's part of the reason the players come out and they fight for him on that one. So I think that he comes back strong. I think that you're still going to see Jamal Williams be a thorn in his side for fantasy production this year. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I'm playing Swift. Yes, I think he comes back. Yes, I think they're going to use him. He'll still be used in the passing game. He's just going to be a guy, I think, that throughout his career, he's going to miss a game or two each year. Kind of like Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
He's not a frail guy, but he's also not a big-bodied runner.
Right, he's not the 6'2", 220 running back.
Exactly. So he's just not quite built like that.
He plays a violent sport in a violent position. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah. Alrighty. So Vision over on YouTube. There's a chance Waddle doesn't come back until after the bye week, though.
He meant Tua.
Waddle. Yeah, Waddle. Yeah. Not Waddle. Sorry, Tua. Yes, I agree with that. But at that point too, right? Like, you're not necessarily looking for Waddle week to week type of thing here, right? Like, we're talking rest of season, that kind of stuff. And we've seen very good things out of this Miami offense with Tua and being able to feed both Tyreek and Waddle and sustain great performances after him. So even if we don't see Tua back this week, we'll see him back sooner than later. And I think we'll see this team really kind of bring it home there.
Yeah. And if you're nervous, and if you're nervous, that's fine. Right. Like, if you're that nervous about it, I understand. I think that even with Waddle being down because of the lack of Tua, the way Lockett's been playing, you're getting so much value there.
Right.
You're good. I just feel like you're giving up too much for St. Brown. Like, right. Ultimately, that's what it is. I feel like you're giving up too much for just St. Brown. Like, if you want to give up Waddle and Lockett, then you should be getting back St. Brown and some ancillary piece. Like, some running back depth. Maybe your tight end sucks and you can improve.
Amon-Ra and Olave would be another thought there.
Yeah, something like that. So it's not that we're saying no outright, but I would definitely want a secondary piece to getting Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that there as well. Yeah, plus actually Waddle actually probably benefits more so than anybody else on that team from how Teddy Two Gloves plays the quarterback position should Tua miss. And I think we will see Teddy Two Gloves back this week here.
Did he clear protocol yet?
I thought he cleared protocol already, but I could be mistaken on that one yet. But I think that he will clear before we see game time this week. Blake over on YouTube, should I drop Ayuk or Garrett Wilson for Walker this week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Walker is going to be the feature in Seattle, so
I would drop Ayuk because I don't trust the passing game in San Francisco. I'm well documented on the fact that I am not the biggest Brandon Ayuk fan. But if your gut is telling you Garrett Wilson, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you over that. But yes, you want to drop one or the other for Kenneth Walker.
Yes, agreed. Pierce for Stevenson.
No. Short term, that looks great.
Right. But
Pierce
when you start
bye week, coming out of back-to-back great games, but season long, what's going to help you the back half of the season? I think Dameon Pierce is probably going to help you more week in and week out towards the end of the season than Stevenson. I just don't see, even if Stevenson runs for 120 yards and a touchdown for the next 2 or 3 weeks, however long Damian Harris might be out, I don't think that's enough that Bill Belichick's just going to hand the keys over. He's still going to want a split back system. He's still going to rotate series in and out. So Stevenson's ceiling is drastically capped when Harris is healthy. So I'd rather have the guy who I know he's the only show in town, and that's Pierce.
Right. And Pierce coming on strong there, definitely getting more and more touches as we go through there. So, yeah, right there with you. Not going to make that move there. Terrence saying, should I drop Pacheco and go ahead and stash Watson? If you're in a single QB league, I probably wouldn't. Superflex, you could make that move, but
There's no way Watson's there in a super flex, is there?
that's why I'm thinking it's single QB. But if it's single QB, I don't know that I necessarily want to stash a quarterback that I'm not going to be able to play for another
You're not
5
playing
6 years.
Pacheco.
It's true.
I
That is
mean,
very true.
if that's what you're dropping to stash Watson, in my eyes, yes, because you're not giving anything up. You're throwing away an ancillary piece. So yes, grab Watson if that's what you're dropping.
I guess when you put it that way too, looking at that Kansas City backfield, you've got a bit of a crapshoot anyway on who it's going to be that week. Is it going to be a Jerick McKinnon? Is it going to be CEH? Are we going to see Pacheco get 15 opportunities on that one? So Kevin, you put that in perspective for me. Yes, agreed. Cade Smith, should I drop Russ for Geno? We've said yes on that one.
Yes. You are not alone, Cade. Just so you know.
No.
You are not.
There have been a couple of people answering that very question this week. So, yes, drop Russ for Geno. Geno's QB 6 or 7, just depending on which scoring format you're in, it seems like. But until the Cowboys, until the Broncos can figure out what they're doing here offensively, the Seahawks at least have it figured out, right? They're going to try and run the ball a little bit. They want Geno to be extremely efficient. They're going to take a couple chances down the field. He's been over 300 yards 3 of the last 4 weeks. So, yes, Geno's the answer right now.
Yeah, and he's had a couple of top 5 finishes the last 2 weeks. So, absolutely. Jackson Polrag over on YouTube, would you try to get Godwin and Fournette? His team is Lamar, Dameon Pierce, Lenny, Kupp, Tyreek, Godwin with Hawkinson. So who would you try and go get with the Godwin and Fournette, given that roster makeup?
You might have a hard time with it being a package deal with them both being the same team. Honestly, I'm keeping them. Like, I feel like Tom Brady's only going to get stronger as the rest of the season goes. So I'm not sure that you're still not selling them almost at a floor if you're really dead set on moving them. Godwin and Fournette for CeeDee Lamb and as crazy as it sounds, like Najee Harris, right? Like, you take the downgrade at running back, you get the upgrade at wide receiver, potentially, but I really think that I'd keep both these guys on my team because I trust Tom Brady to at least be able to distribute the ball amongst his wide receivers. And he's the only show in town at running back there. They're not running Rachaad White out there. So I know that in half-point PPRs, Fournette's kind of been a little struggling. He hasn't been doing a great job on the ground, but it's the receptions. Like, he's been getting the receptions to help kind of dig him out of that hole. And I think that Tampa Bay is only going to get stronger as the season goes on and they continue to get healthy.
What are your thoughts, Alex?
Almost had one. I mean, look, I understand the frustration right now with Tampa's offense, but remember the year that they won the Super Bowl, they were god-awful through the first 7 weeks, and then they figured it out. So, I don't know. I think I stay put right now with both of those. If you are looking to move, I mean, that team's pretty darn set as it is. Maybe you could try to get some help at running back, but I mean, with Kupp and Tyreek, I mean, you've got 3. Godwin. I think you're okay. I think you're okay.
Yeah.
That's good depth pieces right there.
Yeah, and you might be able to make a play, right? If you want a better running back, you might be able to make a play for a Dalvin Cook or again, Joe Mixon and a piece back, something like that. Breece Hall and a piece back, something like that. So, I mean, there's some options if you're trying to upgrade running back to have someone to run there with Dameon Pierce as the rest of the season kind of continues. But I like the team. I mean, that you've built. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Right. And I'd stay put on that move there as well. Alrighty. So guys, I know we've got some more questions in the chat here. We're gonna go ahead and get to our Thursday night preview here, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna hit more questions in the chat here and get you guys all the questions answered here. All right, guys. So we have some more questions coming in here. Cade asking T-Law or Gino. I'd say Gino.
Gino.
Yeah, Gino.
Nick over on YouTube, would you rather have Cook or Fournette rest of the season? I think I'd rather have Leonard Fournette.
I'd rather have Cook.
I think I lean Cook too. Just like the fact that Minnesota uses him. And here's the deal. Like Fournette is one dropped pass away from Tom Brady forgetting that he ever exists. Like
Yeah. Him and Fournette are tight, man. I don't think his leash is that short.
Right. When he takes that one off the header last year, still.
Yeah, I just think with Tampa Bay getting healthier, they're going to start to let Tom Brady do more of the things that he wants to do with whether it's Evans, Godwin, and Gage or Evans, Godwin, and Julio. We're just going to see some more aerial attack from Tom Brady as the season goes on, and Fournette's usage will go down. So I'm going to take Dalvin Cook.
All righty. So split decision 2-1 in favor of Cook there. All righty. Our boy on YouTube, need to waiver a tight end. Otten, Disley, Mo Alley, Cox.
Disley.
Yeah. Disley's probably the best bet there.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Mo Alley Cox, well, that's the funner name of them, and certainly probably he's got to fall into the end zone. I don't trust Indianapolis to have that happen. So, all right, Terry over on the YouTube asking, rest of the season, who would you rather have, Aaron Jones or Dameon Pierce? I think I lean Dameon Pierce.
Aaron Jones provides your safer floor, in my opinion, just because you know what you're getting with Aaron Jones, and he typically sees a bit more of the passing work. Dameon Pierce, I think, has a higher ceiling because what the hell else do the Texans have on offense?
Right.
Yeah. I'll lean Jones.
All righty. So split decision 2-1, Jones versus Pierce there. All right. Amon-Ra or Mike Evans? Oh, Amon-Ra for Mike Evans was the question. I think I'd rather have Amon-Ra.
Depends on how your roster build out is. If you're looking for like a solid floor, it's Mike Evans. Like Mike Evans is your solid floor play. Again, 1,100 to 1,300 yards is damn near guaranteed. You know you're going to end up seeing double-digit touchdowns out of Mike Evans. But if you're looking for a wide receiver too with maybe a bit higher ceiling and some more pop, then maybe I'm looking the St. Brown side.
All righty. Alex, which one you rather have? Amon-Ra?
I think as you know, it's a little scary as we were just talking about, you know, all of the pieces for Tampa Bay coming back. I still think Mike Evans is still like Tom Brady's first look every play. So I'll lean Mike Evans. I think that offense figures it out.
All righty. Terry, Thursday night has got to do better with these matchups. Over under will be asleep by halftime. I don't blame you.
Yeah, and you're not wrong, but it's how these guys get to choose. Mm-hmm. So NBC has first right of refusal for all the games.
It's the best contract ever signed in professional sports.
You know, they get first crack at what they want their Sunday night game to be week in and week out. And Thursday night football they're trying to do games that have some allure while staying out of divisional play and without changing like 3 different time zones, right? So the Niners-Panthers game, right? You wouldn't see that on Thursday night football because they don't want teams to have to travel 3 time zones. So you're looking at a 1 time zone swing either way. And in the largest viewing markets that they think they can get for these matchups. And they're going to continue to suck, guys, because people aren't going to tune into these Amazon Prime games the same way. Like, I'll be really, really interested to see what their viewership is. And it'll be hard to tell because they're streamed games. So you're not actually getting true ratings numbers.
Well, actually, I will
We've
counter
got a guy that's like,
I will counter that. You'll actually have a better idea of what the ratings numbers are because the terrestrial, if you will, the over-the-air stuff, the games that are on, Fox and CBS, those are kind of estimated. They're estimated viewerships based on a number of different things, but they're pretty much estimated. Whereas with streaming, you pretty much know because you know exactly how many devices are tuned in to that game. You know exactly how long those devices are watching said game. So if anything, it'll screw them because they'll actually have accurate numbers for what that is. Even with all the bars and things that have the deal struck with Amazon to stream those games in their bars. I think you have a better idea of what they are streaming wise than you do from CBS and from the over the air games of CBS, Fox, and NBC.
Fair enough. I did not know that. That's good to know.
But they have been terrible. They
Alex,
do need to do a better job. And unfortunately, you pick these games before the season ever starts. And look, we all thought the Broncos were going to be a good football team. So
yeah, and that's
why they've been in prime time 3 times in the first. What's that?
And every team is supposed to have at least one Thursday night game, right? As they roll through it and everything else. So,
and we're looking now at week 7, right? Week 6. And the Broncos will play their 3rd primetime game. Like, we all thought that those would be fantastic matchups, and they should have been on paper. I mean, it's a tough gig making the NFL schedule, but
they've been fantastically bad.
Right. I mean, if you want to see the sport of football as Newt Rockne intended, actually, no, not as Newt Rockne, because
this is their 4th primetime game.
Oh, my mistake. You're right.
4 out of their first 6 have been in primetime.
To a national audience. Yeah. And they've been terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
They're embarrassing my fanhood. So, yes, they are garbage. Anyway, sorry.
Alrighty. Terrence over on YouTube, McPherson or Butker kicker this week? I'll take
McPherson.
I'll take the guy that's not injured, not coming off of injury.
Yeah. Although I'm sure Kansas City wishes they had Butker back.
Yes.
Also, can we go on a quick tangent here real quick about kickers? Yes. Find the one that's playing indoors. For the love of God, if you're going to stream a kicker, find the one that's playing inside. Find the one that's on a good team, right? Because you're going to have the ability to get PATs.
The best team playing inside that week.
But yes, find the best team playing indoors that week, whether it's a road team or a home team. Find the best team playing inside if you're that desperate to stream a kicker.
All right. I like it. Our boy asking, drop Schultz for Hill. I mean, if you want to take the Taysom Hill roller coaster ride, you can. The problem is Schultz hasn't done anything for you this season either. Thoughts on this one?
I am praying that someone in our league does something stupid like this so I can pick up Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, Schultz.
And I'm a Kyle Pitts owner, so believe me, I know how terrible tight end has been, especially in our home league. I'm at least going to take the flyer on it. I would rather have Schultz and deal with it and hope that when Dak comes back that it just naturally gets better and he's not staying in to block as much to help Cooper rush. He's able to get out in formation and run some routes. So I'd rather have Schultz, and I'm hoping people drop,
so
B-list players like that for a guy that I don't want any part of.
I can understand why, because he is playing through a knee injury. Schultz is. I can understand the allure of.
It sounds like he reactivated that PCL.
And the Cowboys just signed another tight end to try and play with that. But if he can get right, like he is so much safer of an option than Taysom Hill. You might just have to. If you can find a way to keep him on your roster and drop some other, wide receiver that is not doing anything but taking up a roster spot, and you can still go get Hill, then go do that. But do not bail on Dalton Schultz yet.
I would agree with that. Lucius over on YouTube trying to pick up a defense this week. They see the Pats, the Washington, Green Bay out there. Who do you guys prefer? Thanks in advance. So Green Bay, Washington, and New England. Rank them up. 1, 2, 3. Who you got?
Honestly, I think they're all about the same. Like the Pats are on the road at Cleveland, Green Bay's at home against the Jets, which I like, and Washington's on the road at Chicago. So since I think they're all the same, I want the home team. I want the team that has the crowd noise behind them. So I would lean Green Bay by a hair. But I do think that they are all relatively close and should be by the time the week is done.
I'll rank them Green Bay, Washington, New England.
Okay. I've got it Green Bay, New England, then Washington out there. I do like Kevin's point that, get the hometown team on that one. The Jets, they've shown some pop here and there, but I'll take Green Bay on that one. All righty, Terrence over on YouTube starters. He's got Brady, JT, Aaron Jones, Godwin, St. Brown, Olave, Hurst. Bench is Etienne, London, Dotson, Algier, Pierce, Jameis Wilson on the IR spot.
And Williams.
Oh, and Jameis Williams. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Jameis and Javonte Williams.
No,
I think it's Jameson
Williams.
Williams.
It's Jameson Williams.
The rookie in Detroit, the wide receiver. Should I panic after a 2-4 start in a 12-person league? I don't know how you're 2-4 in after 5 weeks. Maybe 2-3.
I think that's what he meant. Anyway, no, I'm not panicking. I think Brady's going to get stronger. As Brady gets stronger, Godwin automatically gets stronger. St. Brown's going to come back from a bye week and be healthier. Olave's got to get through concussion protocol, but he's been nice. No, I don't think it's time to panic, right? When Pierce gets out from his bye week, maybe you do play matchups more with Pierce and Aaron Jones, right? Because Pierce is going to see, the lion's share of the workload. But, Tinder.
Whoa.
Let me help you with that thought there.
But overall,
don't come in here and spam my chat. No, I would agree. I don't think it's time to panic either. You've had a lot of injuries that have kind of gone through here and kind of wrecked your season here to start this thing off here, right? Brady got off to the slow start. Jonathan Taylor missed this last week here. Has missed kind of a almost a game and a half type of thing on that one. Aaron Jones been okay for you. Godwin's been hurt. St. Brown's been hurt. Olave, you've got a lot of pieces here, and for the most part, you've kind of had to piecemeal this team together and starting rosters here. Once your team gets healthy going down the stretch, I think you'll be great. They've got some notable waiver ads as well with Cobb, Corey Davis, Boone, Benjamin, and Boyd. Any thoughts about construct and potentially going after some waiver claims there?
Well, I like the idea. We said it earlier with our waiver wires. I like the idea of grabbing Eno Benjamin this week just so that nobody else has him, even if you don't need him. Just so that nobody else has him, because I'm not sure that Connor's going to go.
Who are you dropping for him? And I'm not saying you're wrong.
Right there
Algier,
with you.
Right? Algier,
probably
kind of thing. Dotson started out so hot, right? You want to see how this injury is kind of progressing and what they think, because if Dotson can go Thursday night, I think that might screw up all of our monkey knife fights. He might end up in the end zone. And he's the one guy that we didn't talk about. But
right.
I think that would be possible. I mean, I would be more inclined, honestly, to be looking at a Boyd or Corey Davis in case Olave can't go, because St. Brown's already on a bye week.
Oh.
So just London's to fill the roster.
Yeah. And London's got a tougher matchup there.
Yeah. So
I mean,
I would be looking at probably Corey Davis. He's been the most consistent up to this point. And the last thing you want is a goose egg. So I would be looking at maybe Corey Davis over Tyler Algier for this week, just to make sure you have enough. Because if Olave doesn't clear protocol in time and you've already missed the first round of waiver claims, you might be stuck with something that you really don't like.
Right. Although I'm assuming that I guess the question that I've got there is the Pierce, is that Damian Pierce or is that Alec Pierce? Because that does change the equation quite a bit there too.
I agree with that.
Even if it's Alex Pierce, as a potential flex play, I wouldn't have a problem putting him in there on this one. Right. Like, he seems to have the hot hand. We seem to see some things going there. So I'd be okay potentially putting him in there, but tell me what you think about this thought here as far as, managing this roster. You've got Jameson Williams on the IR spot, and I get it. I've stashed him all over the place through several leagues as well. But what you've got there as well is, would you be opposed to dropping Jameson Williams if Olave and or Dotson are unable to go, flex them into the IR spot and pick up a guy like Corey Davis to potentially start this week?
Probably, but I understand people who would not like to do that because it's all the unknown, right? It's fun because it's unknown and we don't really know what's going to happen, but we hope it's the shot in the arm here to end the season. But yeah, I would probably be willing to do that. Again, Corey Davis would be the guy I'd be looking at.
Okay. All righty. Any other thoughts on this one for Terrence out there?
No, I don't believe so.
All right. Awesome. All righty, guys. Let's get so question out there. Kevin, I need you to be the judge on this. When I say Alec, how does that come across?
In reference to the Indianapolis wide receiver.
Well, you've said it both ways.
Okay, fair enough. Alex is over. So peel back the curtain here. Alex is over here giving me a hard time saying that I'm saying Alex every time. I'm like, no, I said Alec. Anyway, my bad. All right. Let's go ahead.
He's not good enough to share my name. I'm sensitive to these sort of things.
Okay, fair enough. Alrighty, guys.
Probably way better of a human being than I am. But go on. Let's move on.
Let's go ahead and hit up final thoughts here. What are the final thoughts y'all got out there for the watchers and listeners?
Continue to work the waiver wire. Continue to evaluate all trades, right? We're always trying to improve our roster. So hit us up. Let us know how we can help, because our goal is to make sure you are successful.
I'll add one more thing. I think what we know through the first 5 weeks is that we don't know much about the NFL this year. A lot of 2 and 3 teams, a lot of 3 and 2 teams. A couple teams are starting to separate themselves, but realistically, it's too early for them to really separate themselves. There's one undefeated team left, and there is no defeated teams, if I'm correct in that, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep, the Texans won.
So the league is sorting itself out. We are finding things out. I get that we are, 5 weeks through, but that is a small sample size. Injuries are starting to creep up and take their toll. I will tell you the same thing that I think a lot of GMs are telling their coaches right now. Now is not the time to panic, but
now is the perfect time to panic.
But there is time to grow concern if you feel like your team is trending in the wrong direction. So, as Kevin said, evaluate your trades, figure out what is looking like it will work, not for this week, but for the long haul.
I like it. Speaking of trades, a couple of those coming in the chat real quick. So we'll hit these things up and we'll call it a night here. Monir over on YouTube. Do I trade Aaron Jones and Hunt for Josh Jacobs? Are you trading Kareem Hunt, Aaron Jones for one Mr. Josh Jacobs? Thoughts?
No.
Man, that Jacobs owner's capitalizing on some prime real estate right there.
Yes.
I don't think I'd do it. I think two heads.
Look,
I think two's better than one, and ultimately Oakland's going to be trailing in a lot of games. Yes, they want to try and run the ball, but I don't trust Josh McDaniels, so I'm sticking with Aaron Jones and Hunt, because we will see throughout the season he will continue to see usage.
Right. I mean, Josh Jacobs, when you start looking at it from a playoff perspective, which is, some of the things, if you're going to make trades, he has an incredibly tough matchup for your fantasy playoffs. Week 17, San Francisco. Week 16, Pittsburgh. And there's a good chance that we see TJ Watt back in that one there. New England in week 15, the Rams in week 14. So where you're going to really need him for fantasy, to really try and bring home a fantasy championship, you got tough matchups there. So I would stay away from that one. Money are asking Justin Fields or Carson Wentz half-point PPR. What are your thoughts here? You playing Justin Fields, you playing Carson Wentz on the Thursday game? I think I'm going to lean Carson.
It feels like a coin flip, doesn't it?
I'm leaning Carson.
I think
I love either one of them, but I'm going to lean Carson.
Since I picked Carson Wentz to score a rushing touchdown and did not pick Justin Fields, I will lean that way as well.
All right. Expanded on that question a little bit. Wentz, Fields, Geno, Zach Wilson. It's Geno for me.
Geno.
Consensus, Geno. Maher or Sukup? Who you want for a kicker?
Who's playing inside?
Well, you got Dallas and Tampa Bay is who those two kickers belong to.
I'm going with Maher.
Dallas seems less likely to put the ball in the end zone and settle for field goals.
And they're outside in Philadelphia. The Cowboys are. Tampa's at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, same Pennsylvania air.
I'm going with Maher.
Alex, find somebody playing inside. For the love of God, drop one of them. Find somebody playing inside.
Saucy Boy on YouTube. Should I trade Dobbins? That depends on who you're trading him for. He's got Jacob, Barkley, Hunt, Dobbins. That's why I asked about that. So it really depends on who the offer for Dobbins is, right? Like you're not going to just give him away, but it really depends on what the offer is.
Yeah, just now heading into bye weeks, I don't know that I'm trading Dobbins because they're
working him in, right? They're working him in. And that offense will be better once they have a fully healthy J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, I think I'm staying put.
I think you've got a good what's the word I'm looking for? Good bevy of backs there. Yeah, like you've got good backs there. There's no need to move off of somebody in a panic.
Right. Yeah,
you've got guys that can get you through for now, and you've got the option of Dobbins. Like you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it very much depends on what the offer is. So Money, or do I waste my number 2 waiver on Gallup, Rondale Moore, Taysom Hill, Alex Pierce?
Oh, you did it again.
I said Alec.
No, you definitely did not.
Alec Pierce.
You have like this wall.
Yep. All right. Fair enough. All right, Mr. Alex, would you waste the number 2 waiver wire on Gallup, Rondale Moore, Taysom Hill, or Alec Pierce?
I mean, we've been talking all show. This feels like it's been the Alec Pierce show. So I feel like we'd go against it.
Kevin, that's one.
You don't lose your priority if you wait until round 2, right? Like it's just for that initial. So I'm sitting tight and then I'm seeing what's left and then I make my move. I'm not wasting it for any one of these guys, but I would take a flyer on Gallup or Pierce on the second round if no one picks them up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of those you could see either one of those guys sneak through, I think, on that one. So I kind of like it. Alrighty. Well, guys, that's gonna wrap up all the questions here. Any final thoughts before I sign us out here?
Good night, America.
I like it. Last one. What do you think about Brian Robinson?
I like him. Keep him on your bench. He's going to continue to get more usage as the season goes on.
Yep. We were telling you that you should have been stashing him weeks ago. So love it. Rock and roll. Alrighty. So, guys, that's going to do it for us. You know, if you have any other questions, things like that, we premiere the fantasy mailbag on YouTube tomorrow. We'll be in the chats helping answer some questions, things like that. More than welcome to join us over there. We premiere the fantasy mailbag on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. So you can hop in there, chat along with us, all that kind of good stuff. Answer those, ask any questions. We'll answer those for you. We'll be live again Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern out there, breaking down all the slates of games, going through all of that. And then we'll be live Sunday morning, 11:30 a.m. Eastern as well, doing a full-on just start, sit, question show for you, helping you get your fantasy rosters right. Again, best way to reach us out there at the socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, at Good Old Boys FF. And the best way to support this independent podcast, head over to the YouTube channel, click the subscribe button. He's Kevin. He's Alex. I'm Derek. Have a good one. Be safe.